Hello, hello, and welcome to another episode of Tanya TV. Now, I get a lot of questions about planning, and I recently got a question submitted by Jill in Lincoln, Nebraska, and I want to read it to you. Hi, Tanya. I loved your planning video where you showed how you do your weekly team planning. I've already started using some of the tips you shared, and it's working great with my family. I love that we're all on the same page, and I'm not the only person who's doing everything. Well, you know I love that, right? I'm curious though, how do you plan for your month? I love this question. And I love it because I love that Jill is wanting to think forward and think beyond just the week at hand, really, because when we're really planning out for the year in advance or the month in advance, we're moving closer to our goals. And I think that's really, really important. So just like I showed in my weekly planning video, I plan twice for my months. I plan for home and for work. I like to keep them separated so those compartments don't get muddled up. You know, I've talked before about that need for boundaries, where when I'm in work mode, I'm focused on work, and when I'm in home mode, I'm really focused in on my family. So today, I'd like to show you how I plan for my month. And before we get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button because I do have new videos every single month. We want to plan our month for success, and I have 5 tips to help make it even easier and simple to do. Tip number 1, pick a day. Easy enough, right? For me, at work, my day that I do my monthly planning is what I call Final Fridays. And that's the day where every member of my team comes and reports into me, and they give me any sort of metrics they need to share with me. They tell me how the month before went, what they're planning for the month ahead. It's a great time for me to touch base with every member of my team. And the bonus is it alleviates some of those extra meetings we get throughout the month where people are wanting to touch base because they know we always meet on Final Fridays. At home, I like to do my monthly planning on the last Sunday of the month. So the Sunday before the first day of the coming month. And I've showed you how I do my Sunday planning in my video I shared a couple of weeks ago. Basically, this monthly planning is just an extension of that. It's not a separated meeting. It's not, some special event. It's just that regular Sunday planning I do with my family, just maybe extended 5-10 minutes or so. And that's it. The second tip is to start writing dates in your calendar. So I like to do this part of the monthly planning on my own before I gather my team together, whether that's my team at work or my team at home. And I do that because that helps me get centered and helps me organize so I know what I want to be working on and what I want to encourage others to work on in that month ahead. So I start by gathering everything I need. So I have a list of automation tasks, which I'll be talking about in a tip here in just a few minutes. I have that list. I have my big monthly calendar that I post. I have my shared calendar. And then sometimes I have other papers or other documents that I need, whether it's things from school or from the different sporting groups that my kids are in, and I gather those together and I start writing those dates in. Now, the way I do it is I start by writing in the recurring dates. So these are things that happen regularly, like sports practice or play rehearsal, scouts, monthly meetings. Make sure that when you're writing down a recurring event is your monthly planning for the following month. That makes sure it doesn't slip through the cracks. Then I write down my fixed events. So these are things like appointments, volleyball tournaments, trips I have going on, things that are already set in stone with those dates. And then I do my special events, celebrations, birthdays, anniversaries, planned family events. This is a great place to start putting in events like family game night. If you're wanting to be more intentional with creating activities and things to do with your family, schedule those into your calendar as one of your special events. So then, once I have my calendar written out, then we're ready to meet as a team. And that brings me to tip number 3. Now, tip number 3 builds on that idea of automations you've heard me talk about before. Automations are essentially things that happen throughout the calendar year, but not necessarily every month. So these are things that could easily slip between the cracks if we're not careful. So what I have is I have a list of automations, things that need to happen each and every month. I have a list for work and I have a list at home. So at home, some examples would be fertilizing the yard, changing the air filters, cleaning the oven. It also includes things maybe that you don't think about doing, like checking for expired medications, researching summer camps so you're not doing that at the last minute, cleaning the condenser coils of the fridge, all kinds of glamorous tasks like that. Things that are important to do, but easy to forget. So during my Sunday planning with my family, I sit down with my family and we delegate out these different chores and tasks. That way, I'm not the only person doing that. Sometimes I'll have the kids partner together to do one of these chores together, or maybe they partner with me or their dad. So it just kind of depends. Some of them are on their own, but this is an opportunity for us to come together as a team and make sure that everyone is doing their part. So we do that as part of that Sunday planning. And then my fourth tip is this is the ideal time to set your monthly goals. Now, if you've ever heard me talk about goal setting, you know that I don't think there's anything magical about the month of January, that we want goals to happen all year long. So one of the things that I find really helpful is I make sure each quarter that I have an area of focus that I'm leaning into. Whether it's my personal bucket or my work bucket or my home bucket, I have an area that I'm focusing in on. And then I take that goal and I break it down month by month. Now, one of the benefits of using that monthly mission board we have in our planner is that it allows you each month to take the time and break that down. I do this with my kids also. I think it's really important to make sure that as a mom, I'm setting my kids up for success. So they're learning how to do goal setting too. So during our Sunday planning together as a family, I sit down with them and talk to them about what is their focus each quarter. And then we break down their goals month by month. Now the trick here is I don't break their goals down, they break it down for themselves because I'm wanting them to have ownership over it. So right now an example of this is Jack is doing he's doing a push-up challenge because he wants to be a little more fit for summer. He's 15, almost 16, so he's wanting to get a little more fit. So he's doing a push-up challenge. And then he'll do some other goals that are also tied to getting fit. And so then I have them break those down and create these daily habits. So they set up their habit tracker so that they are regularly tracking these daily habits that they're doing to get them closer to their goals. At work, I do the same thing with my work team. I sit down with them, they understand and they know where we're wanting to go this year with our goals. They break it down and then we discuss and talk together about what they want to get accomplished each and every month. And then during those final Friday meetings, we talk about how they did with their goals the month before and how they're going to be setting goals for the month to come. I find it really helpful that we're checking in on a regular basis on our goals because that makes us more likely to accomplish them. All right, my fifth tip is to set up a headquarters. Have a spot where everyone knows where they need to go to get the information. So at home, I have a little family HQ where I hang the calendar, I print out the chore charts for my kids, and this is the other thing that I do during this monthly planning. Because I don't want my kids to get bored with their chores, which can easily happen, I rotate their chores every month. So each month I switch over their chores, and then at the bottom of their chore list, I include whatever special automations or monthly tasks they need to accomplish that month. And then I create 4 copies of it. So they have one basically for each week of the month, and that gets posted underneath that calendar. What I love about having a little headquarter for my family is they know where to go to get the information on what's going on. They know what's coming up on the calendar. I also include my weekly kickstart in my family headquarters because again, that allows them to be accountable for their own activities, their own tasks, and all of that. And I think that's really important, is giving them some of that responsibility. Now, what I love about monthly planning is it's so flexible. These 5 tips that I've given you are just a basic overview of the basic way that you can do monthly planning, but you could add in all different kinds of elements depending on what you want to do. You could do meal planning for the month. You could create fitness plans for the month, or maybe it's time for your budget and finances every month. It's a great chance to check in. What I love about this monthly planning is it keeps you on track all year long, and that is really important. So I'd love to know in the comments below, tell me what's one thing that you take time to plan each month. What's something that you like to do and plan out each month? All right. I want to remind you to subscribe to these videos because I do have new videos all of the time, and I have a brand new podcast episode every single week. This season of the podcast, we're talking all about New Year, True You. So it's not about reinventing yourself. It's not about becoming a whole different person. It's about becoming the best you possible. And all of the videos that tie into this season will be focused on that, helping you create that life that you really want to live. So I'll be sure to have a link to my podcast below. And if you were interested in any of the products that I showed during this video, just go to inkwellpress.com. If you have a question for a future episode of Ask Tanya, whether it's on the video or the podcast, you can submit those at inkwellpress.com/question. That's what Jill did, and that's why her question got answered. All right, until next time, have a beautiful and productive week.